Hey everyone, my name's Katie. I'm a fourth year medical student, finishing up medical school in about a month now and starting internal medicine residency in July. Over on TikTok, I've been getting a lot of questions from pre-meds and medical students, and I thought instead of recording a 60-second clip, I would just make YouTube videos, make them a little bit longer and more detailed, and whoever wanted to watch them could watch them. These types of videos are videos I was looking for and could not find back when I was a pre-med during my gap years applying to medical school, as well as when I was a medical student for second and third year. So hopefully this helps somebody, and yeah, let's just get into it. So the first question I got was about what extracurricular activities I had on my AMCAS application when I applied to medical school. Don't mind if I'm looking down a little bit. I have my computer in front of me with my AMCAS application from like 5 years ago, which is crazy to say, but here we are. So I'll start with my three most meaningful experiences. My first most meaningful was paid employment medical clinical with a total of 1,260 hours. In this role, I was a health advocate for a value-based primary care company. It was actually a very unique role because I put it on my residency applications and even got asked about it during residency interviews, which is kind of cool. In this role, I was going into patients' homes with the physician and the nurse and doing a lot of the social side of medicine. So I was doing things like medication reconciliation, but I was mostly focusing on things like getting patients into medication assistance programs, helping them with transportation. If they needed medical equipment around their house, I would help them get that. And I also helped coordinate their specialty appointments. My second most meaningful experience was paid employment medical clinical as well. I had a total of 835 hours, and that role was as a medical scribe. This scribe position was a little bit unique. It was for a patient care model that combined aspects of adult daycare, primary care, and rehabilitation services. So I got to see a lot of medically complex patients because that was our main patient population, and also got to see a lot of interdisciplinary work between the different disciplines in medicine. My third most meaningful experience, some people might find this controversial as to be one of the most meaningful experiences, but for me it truly was, and I wanted to be as authentic as I could on my medical school application. So my third most meaningful experience was physician shadowing and clinical observation for a total of 164 hours. At my undergrad institution, we had a program that allowed you to shadow in the main primary care specialties, so internal medicine, family medicine, pediatrics, emergency medicine. And then I also did some shadowing outside of that program in cardiology and orthopedic surgery. And I included this as a most meaningful because it truly was one of the first experiences in college that kind of inspired me to pursue medicine as a career. So I thought it was important to include as one of my most meaningful. Next, I'll go through my non-most meaningful experiences. So first one was the experience type of research/lab. I had a total of 920 hours, and I worked as a project coordinator for a large nationwide autism study. My next experience was also research lab, total of 220 hours, and this was something that I did during my undergrad, not in my gap years. I was a research assistant in a metabolic surgery research group. Kind of came full circle because I did that at the School of Medicine that I'm currently attending, and my PI on that project actually ended up being my clinical mentor for my surgery clerkship, so it's just kind of funny how that all works out. My next experience was just extracurricular activities. I was a member of ODK, which was a leadership honor society at my undergrad institution, and that was a total of 55 hours. My next experience was teaching, tutoring, teaching assistant. I was a volunteer tutor at a Baptist church for a total of 154 hours. My next experience was community service volunteer, not medical or clinical. Total hours were 225, and I was a volunteer at a therapeutic horseback riding center. I grew up riding horses, so I was excited about being able to kind of combine my love for horses with helping out the community. My next experience was leadership, not listed elsewhere. My total hours were 425 for this experience, and I was the director of external philanthropy for my sorority, which was Alpha Phi sorority. In this role, I did a lot of work with the American Red Cross in setting up our blood drives, as well as our participation in Relay for Life events throughout the year. I had another experience that was community service volunteer, medical or clinical, total hours of 115. The community shelter in my town has a clinic attached to it where volunteers will see patients without insurance and also provide very low cost or free medications. And volunteering at this community shelter clinic was a huge reason why I wanted to pursue medicine. So I'm really glad I got that opportunity early on in undergrad. My next experience was paid employment, not medical or clinical, for a total of 1,825 hours. So I took a few gap years, and during those gap years, while I was getting my clinical experiences, I was also doing things on the side to try to make money and build up a savings a little bit. So I kind of combined all of these jobs into one and just kind of talked about each of those jobs and what my role was and when I did them. So I was a babysitter one summer. I worked at a Texas Roadhouse as a server and a bartender. I worked at a steakhouse after that as a waitress. And then I also worked for my mom's mortgage company to kind of help her out with some data entry stuff. We're almost done, I promise. My next experience was under honors, awards, recognitions. I just listed some of my honors during college. There was just no other place on the application to list those things, so I thought I'd put it there. My final experience was in athletics. Total hours of 375. Like I talked about earlier, I grew up riding horses, and when I started at my college as a freshman, I joined the club equestrian team, was able to make it to zone finals, and was selected as point rider for my team. So I included that as one of my experiences as well. So I know this might have seemed like a lot of experiences. Everyone's going to have different experiences, and I think the way that you talk about them is the most important. I wouldn't put anything on my experiences that I wasn't somewhat passionate about and able to talk about and be excited about during interview day. If you like videos like this, subscribe to my channel. I'm going to keep making videos on pre-med topics as well as medical school topics, and then hopefully kind of delve into the residency side once I get there in July. If you have any additional questions about extracurricular activities, feel free to leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in my next video.